OutDaughtered, star Danielle Busby shares family portrait and fans are in disbelief. OutDaughtered, star Danielle Busby shares family portrait and fans are in disbelief. Originally appeared on Parade. OutDaughtered star Danielle Busby shared a family portrait to mark her husband Adam's birthday, and fans of the TLC family are in disbelief over how much their kids have grown. On June 10th, the mom of six, a daughter, Blake, 14, and all-girl quintuplets, Ava, Olivia, Hazel, Riley, and Parker, 10, took to Instagram with a tribute to the father of her kids. "Happy birthday to my one and only Buzz at Adam Buzz," Danielle wrote in her update. "This man. He is full of talents and gifts, is a perfectionist with anything he puts his mind on, is full of sarcasm 90% of the time, and loves to get a rise out of anyone, especially his little girls. And me," she concluded. "The life we have together is definitely a super special one. Thankful for you, and love you big. Happy birthday, my love." In the featured image, Danielle included a sweet photo of herself with Adam. A second snap showed the entire family of 8 smiling together. In the comments, Instagram users flooded Adam with well wishes on his birthday. Others couldn't believe how much their daughters had grown. One fan pointed out, "Oh my gosh, Blake is so tall, she's almost as tall as her dad." Another shared, "Beautiful photo. Wow, is Riley getting tall?" Someone else echoed, "Wow. The girls will be taller than you pretty soon. And your older daughter. So tall. Blink, and this is what happens, such a sweet family." A different follower declared, "What a beautiful family." Meanwhile, yet another fan summed it up perfectly, writing, "It has been an absolute joy to watch your family grow from when they were babies. Such a beautiful family. Happy birthday." When people think about reality television families who have truly grown up in front of the camera, it's almost impossible not to think about OutDaughtered. For years, viewers have watched the Busby family navigate life with 6 daughters, including the only all-girl quintuplets in the United States. From sleepless nights and toddler chaos to school milestones and emotional family decisions, fans have felt like they were part of the journey. And now, a simple family portrait shared by Danielle Busby has once again reminded everyone just how far this family has come. What seemed like an ordinary photo at first glance quickly became something much bigger. It wasn't just a picture. It was a time capsule. It was a moment that made longtime fans stop scrolling, stare a little longer, and say the same thing over and over. "I can't believe how big the girls are." Danielle has always been active on social media, often sharing snapshots of everyday life, the school mornings, family outings, birthday celebrations, vacations, and even those raw, unfiltered parenting moments that make her relatable. But this particular portrait felt different. It wasn't chaotic. It wasn't a candid action shot. It was polished, composed, and emotional in a way that hit fans unexpectedly. The portrait featured Danielle, her husband Adam Busby, and all 6 daughters standing together, coordinated and smiling. There was something about seeing them all lined up that made the passage of time impossible to ignore. The quintuplets, once tiny babies that fit in the crook of an arm, now stand tall with their own personalities shining through. Blake, the oldest, no longer looks like the little girl who once helped feed her baby sisters. She looks confident, mature, and so much older than many fans remember. For viewers who started watching when the Quints were infants, the disbelief wasn't dramatic exaggeration. It was genuine shock at how quickly the years have flown by. Reality TV creates this strange illusion where fans feel frozen in a specific era. In many people's minds, the Busby girls are still toddlers running around in matching outfits, their tiny voices blending together. But life doesn't pause for nostalgia. The comments section quickly filled with reactions. Words like "unbelievable," "how did this happen so fast," and "they're so grown up" dominated the conversation. Some fans admitted they had to scroll back to older photos just to compare. Others shared that they felt emotional seeing the transformation. A few even joked that watching the Busby girls grow up has made them feel old. That emotional connection didn't happen overnight. It's the result of years of shared moments through television screens. Since its debut, OutDaughtered offered viewers an inside look at the unique challenges and joys of raising quintuplets. The show wasn't just about multiples, it was about marriage, teamwork, faith, health struggles, and perseverance. Danielle's journey, in particular, has resonated with many women and mothers. She has been open about her health challenges in recent years, sharing both the uncertainty and the resilience required to navigate them. Seeing her stand strong in the portrait, smiling confidently beside her growing daughters, added another layer of meaning to the image. There's something powerful about a family portrait. It freezes a moment that will never exist again in exactly the same way. Hairstyles will change. Heights will increase. Personalities will evolve. But that captured second becomes permanent. For a family that has lived so much of their life publicly, a portrait becomes both personal and communal. It belongs to them, but it also feels shared with the fans who have followed their story from the beginning. Many fans pointed out how each girl's individuality is becoming more visible. In the early seasons, the quintuplets were often seen as a group 5 little girls moving in sync, dressed alike, speaking in overlapping voices. Now, in the portrait, each child stands with distinct posture, expression, and style. Some smile wide, with playful energy. Others show a more reserved, thoughtful look. It's subtle, but it speaks volumes about their growth. Blake's transformation might be the most shocking to longtime viewers. She was once the small but responsible big sister, often helping with bottles or entertaining her baby siblings. In the portrait, she looks poised and mature, almost unrecognizable from the preschooler fans first met. That visual contrast is what triggered so much disbelief online. But beyond physical growth, the portrait represents something deeper. It reflects stability. For a family that has faced health scares, business ventures, public scrutiny, and the everyday chaos of raising 6 children, standing together in harmony sends a quiet message. They are still united. Social media reactions weren't just about appearance. Many comments focused on how happy the family looked. Fans wrote about how genuine their smiles seemed, how close they appeared, and how proud they must feel. Others mentioned that they've grown alongside the Busbys, some becoming parents themselves during the show's run. The passage of time is strange when it's witnessed through a screen. Episodes are binge-watched. Seasons blur together. But real life continues steadily forward. Children grow whether or not cameras are rolling. And sometimes it takes a simple portrait to make that reality hit all at once. Danielle has always understood the emotional power of sharing these moments. She doesn't overshare constantly, but when she posts something meaningful, it resonates. This portrait wasn't accompanied by dramatic captions or controversial statements. It didn't need them. The image spoke for itself.
There's also something to
be said about how rare it is to see a large family so coordinated and composed. Anyone who has tried to gather even 2 or 3 children for a professional photo knows how challenging it can be. Multiply that by 6, and the accomplishment alone becomes impressive. Fans appreciated not just how grown the girls looked, but how beautifully the photo was executed. The lighting, the color coordination, the subtle styling choices, all of it contributed to the emotional impact. It felt like a milestone portrait, the kind families hang in living rooms for years. And because so many viewers feel invested in the Busby's journey, it also felt like a milestone for the audience. In the early days of OutDaughtered, much of the focus was survival. How do you feed 5 babies at once? How do you manage schedules? How do you afford diapers in bulk? Now, years later, the narrative has shifted. It's about growth, identity, and watching children step into their own. The disbelief expressed by fans isn't negative. It's affectionate. It's rooted in nostalgia. It's the same feeling people get when they look at old family albums and realize how quickly childhood passes. For Danielle, sharing that portrait may have been just another proud mom moment. But for fans, it became a reminder of their own timelines. People commented that they started watching while in college and are now married with kids. Others said they were teenagers when the show premiered and are now adults navigating their own responsibilities. That's the unique power of long-running reality television. It becomes a backdrop to viewers' lives. The Busby girls growing up mirrors the audience growing up too. There's also an element of gratitude woven into the reactions. Many fans thank Danielle for continuing to share updates even outside of regular episodes. In an era where some reality stars step away from the spotlight entirely, her willingness to offer glimpses into family life keeps that connection alive. The portrait also subtly reflects how the Busby family brand has matured. Over the years, Adam and Danielle have expanded into business ventures and advocacy. They've balanced public life with private boundaries. Seeing them standing together confidently signals stability in a world where many reality TV families struggle with longevity. And perhaps that's part of why the disbelief felt so intense. The early seasons felt chaotic and unpredictable. 5 newborns alone create constant urgency. Now, seeing the girls older and more independent feels like witnessing a completed chapter. Yet at the same time, it's clear the story isn't over. The girls are entering new phases: school achievements, extracurricular activities, friendships, and eventually teenage years. The portrait feels like a bridge between childhood innocence and upcoming adolescence. Fans also noticed how much taller the quintuplets are compared to their parents. Height comparisons became a trending topic in the comments. Some joked that soon Danielle and Adam will be the shortest members of the family. The emotional weight of the photo also comes from contrast. If you place it side by side with a portrait from the show's first season, the difference is staggering. Tiny faces have become defined. Baby curls have turned into styled hair. Toddler dresses have become age-appropriate, coordinated outfits. But beyond appearance, there's confidence visible in their eyes. They're no longer overwhelmed toddlers clinging to their parents. They stand independently, comfortable in front of the camera. Danielle's role throughout this evolution cannot be overlooked. She has balanced motherhood with entrepreneurship and personal health battles. Seeing her smile confidently in the portrait speaks to resilience. Fans who have followed her health journey found the image particularly uplifting. Adam, too, has grown visibly over the years, not just physically, but in his openness about mental health and fatherhood challenges. The portrait captures him not as a stressed new dad juggling 5 car seats, but as a seasoned father of growing daughters. In many ways, the disbelief from fans is actually admiration. It's recognition of time well spent, of a family that has weathered storms and emerged stronger. The power of that portrait lies in its simplicity. No dramatic announcement, no shocking confession, just a family standing together, reminding everyone that time doesn't slow down. And maybe that's why it resonated so deeply. In a digital world saturated with constant updates and fleeting content, a timeless family portrait stands apart. For longtime viewers of OutDaughtered, the image feels like flipping to the last page of a photo album and realizing you missed a few chapters in between. But the story is still unfolding. And if this portrait proves anything, it's that growth, while shocking, is also beautiful. Fans may be in disbelief, but it's the kind of disbelief that comes with pride, nostalgia, and appreciation. The Busby family has grown up before our eyes, and one simple portrait managed to capture that entire journey in a single frame. As the reactions continued pouring in, it became clear that this wasn't just another viral moment, it was a collective emotional pause. Fans weren't reacting to drama. They weren't debating a controversial decision. They were simply absorbing the reality of time passing. And in today's fast-moving world, that kind of shared reflection is rare. What makes this family portrait so powerful is that it represents evolution without chaos. For years, the heart of OutDaughtered was built on movement: 5 toddlers running in different directions, overlapping conversations, spilled snacks, loud laughter, and the constant rhythm of organized chaos. The Busby household was energetic and unpredictable. That energy became part of the show's identity. But the portrait Danielle shared feels calm, intentional, composed. That calmness is what stunned fans. It's almost symbolic. The early years were about survival, figuring out how to feed 5 babies, manage nap schedules, and simply make it through the day. Now, the girls stand confidently, no longer needing to be carried or corralled. The visual shift from dependence to independence is impossible to ignore. Many longtime viewers have said that looking at the portrait felt like flipping through a scrapbook at high speed. They remember the first episodes where the quintuplets were introduced to the world tiny, fragile, and entirely dependent on their parents. They remember Blake trying to understand her role as the older sister. They remember birthday parties where everything felt bigger than life. Now, the portrait feels grounded. Danielle, standing at the center of it all, looks proud, but there's also something reflective in her expression. For a mother who has lived every milestone twice as intensely as most, this kind of moment must carry extra weight. Raising 6 daughters means experiencing 6 sets of school milestones, 6 personalities forming, 6 futures unfolding. And when those 6 girls stand together in a coordinated portrait, it becomes more than a picture. It becomes a visual timeline. Fans have always admired Danielle's strength. Over the years, she has openly discussed health challenges, emotional stress, and the balancing act of marriage and motherhood. That transparency built trust with viewers. So when they see her smiling in this portrait, looking healthy and confident, it feels reassuring. The disbelief many fans expressed wasn't disbelief in a negative sense, it was disbelief rooted in memory. Viewers remember the sleepless nights. They remember the small voices. They remember the early interviews where Danielle and Adam admitted they were overwhelmed. Now, looking at this polished portrait, it's almost hard to reconcile those early days with the present image. Adam's presence in the photo also sparked reflection among fans. Over the seasons, he has spoken candidly about fatherhood and mental health, which resonated deeply with viewers. Seeing him standing tall beside his daughters shows growth not just in the children, but in the parents too. Parenthood has clearly shaped them in profound ways. One of the most striking aspects of the portrait is how distinct each daughter looks now. In the beginning, viewers often relied on color-coded bows or clothing to tell the quintuplets apart. That was part of the charm and part of the challenge of watching the show. But now, individuality shines through naturally. Some of the girls carry themselves with bold confidence. Others have softer, more reserved expressions. Their smiles aren't identical anymore. Their posture, height, and personal style all reveal emerging identities. Fans noticed these subtle differences immediately. Comments like, "They're not babies anymore," and "Each one has her own vibe now," flooded social media. That realization that they are no longer a singular unit of toddlers, but 6 individual young girls is both beautiful and bittersweet. Blake's transformation remains one of the biggest talking points. As the eldest sibling, she has always had a unique role in the family dynamic. Early viewers remember her navigating the sudden shift from being the only child to becoming a big sister to 5 newborns at once. That adjustment was documented with tenderness and honesty. Now, in this portrait, she looks poised and mature, no longer the little girl clutching stuffed animals while her house buzzed with baby cries. She looks like someone stepping confidently into her teenage years. That passage of time feels almost surreal for fans who have watched from day one. There's also a broader cultural layer to why this portrait resonated so strongly. In an age where so much content is fleeting stories that disappear in 24 hours, quick clips that vanish into the algorithm, a timeless family portrait feels grounding. It invites viewers to slow down and take it in. Danielle didn't need a dramatic caption. The image itself carried enough emotional weight. It's interesting how reality television blurs lines between entertainment and personal memory. For viewers of OutDaughtered, the Busby family isn't just a cast, they're part of a long-term narrative that many fans have emotionally invested in. When fans say they're in disbelief, it's because they feel connected to that timeline. Some fans even admitted that seeing the portrait made them reflect on their own families. Children grow fast. Milestones sneak up quietly. One day you're managing diapers and daycare, and the next you're attending school events and talking about future dreams. The Busby portrait became a mirror for that universal experience. There's also something deeply powerful about seeing stability. Reality television often highlights conflict, tension, and dramatic arcs. But this portrait highlights continuity. It shows a family that has remained intact, supportive, and unified despite public attention and personal challenges. That sense of unity stands out. In earlier seasons, viewers often saw moments of exhaustion. Danielle, and Adam were honest about how hard it was. And that honesty made their journey relatable. Now, the portrait doesn't erase those struggles, it validates them. It shows the result of years of perseverance. Another reason fans reacted so strongly is the sheer visual difference in size. The quintuplets are no longer small children standing below their parents' shoulders. They are tall, growing rapidly, and clearly entering new stages of development. That physical change hits instantly when you compare it to early season memories. Height alone can symbolize time passing. But beyond physical growth, there's emotional growth evident too. Their smiles look more self-aware. Their confidence in front of the camera feels earned rather than instinctive. They've grown up knowing cameras, but they've also grown into themselves. Danielle's decision to share the portrait may have been simple, just a proud mom capturing a milestone. But for the audience, it felt like a moment of collective nostalgia. Many fans expressed gratitude in their reactions. They thanked Danielle for continuing to share glimpses of family life even when filming schedules change or seasons end. That continued openness maintains the bond between the Busbys and their viewers. There's also a protective tone in some of the comments. Fans who once watched the Quints as babies now talk about them with admiration and respect, recognizing they're growing into young individuals with their own futures. The shift from cute babies to young girls with personalities changes how viewers respond. The disbelief, then, is layered. It's about time. It's about growth. It's about realizing that something you once saw as small has expanded beyond that memory. Family portraits often mark transitions, graduations, anniversaries, birthdays. This one feels like it marks the transition from early childhood into a more independent chapter. And perhaps what makes it even more meaningful is that it wasn't tied to controversy. In recent years, public families often trend for conflict. But this moment trended for appreciation. The image stands as a reminder that growth doesn't have to be loud to be impactful. For Danielle, this may simply be another proud snapshot in a phone gallery full of memories. For fans, it feels monumental. Watching the Busby girls grow up has been like watching time-lapse photography, slow changes that suddenly become obvious when you stop and look closely. The disbelief will fade. It always does. The next milestone will arrive. The next school year will begin. New portraits will be taken. But this particular image will remain a turning point in the minds of many viewers. It captures a family no longer defined by infancy, but by maturity and unity. And in that still frame, fans saw something both shocking and comforting, proof that the little girls they once watched have grown into confident young individuals, and that the family at the center of OutDaughtered continues